everyone's talking about it. It's got to be unique. It's got to stand out. It's got to have, people want to go, they want to relax and have vacation, but they want to do that to a level that we've never seen before. Before it was like stay in the house and go to the fishing trip or go to the beach or whatever, where you relax and have the experience. And now it's like, no, you go here and you don't leave. You go here and it's the experience. So.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Hideaways Show Behind the Curtain. It has been a hot minute since we've both been on here. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
Good, man. I've enjoyed listening and missed being a part of these for a little while.
Yeah, for sure. We've had some fun camera and mic issues with this, but we're working through it. We got it resolved, at least for today. So we're here, and I'm excited to talk shop and talk about all the fun stuff we've been doing in 2024, and maybe even a little bit of sneak peek for the listeners on what we got coming down the pipeline in 2025.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year.
It's going to be huge. You know what I'm really excited about?
Tell me.
It's warming up in Kentucky. It's not like 2 degrees, man.
Yeah, anything over 32, man, I'll take it right now. That's for sure.
I was looking at the forecast because I'm coming down on Sunday. Well, when this airs, I will have came down on Sunday. Anyways, I was looking at the forecast. I'm like, dude, it's supposed to be like 61 to 67 degrees every single day next week, as well as while I'm down there. I'm like, the snow will be melted. We won't have frozen pipes. Like, running Airbnbs and short-term rentals again is going to be a breeze. It's going to be easy. It's going to be simple.
I told Court, I was like, it's going to be like a little vacation for you. Just hanging out in the woods, like doing your thing. Like, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So we're going to go out and talk through some projects we got coming down the pipeline in 2025, and we're not going to get snowed in anywhere. We're not going to get stuck on a hill. We're not going to have all this fun stuff. So it's going to be a good week. And it's crazy to think like how fast times went. 2024 here and gone. 2025, off to a hot start already. I was just telling my wife the other day, I was like, February 2nd, I go to Kentucky. She's like, yeah, that's Sunday. I was like, oh, that's 2 days. I was like, oh, you're right. You were spot on with that.
Surprise.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think today what I want to break down for the listeners is sticking to this topic of what happened in 2024. And each of us talk about the one big thing that we learned from 2024. And then we'll deep dive into what we got coming down the pipeline in 2025. I'm convinced 2025 is going to be our best year yet. And I'll say the same thing on our end of year podcast for 2026. But
next year,
exactly. Yep. But we're continuing to grow, expand, doing more unique stuff, bringing more unique people on the podcast. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
I'm excited. It was a huge year last year. It's going to be a huge year this year. And I agree. Like, just keep them compounding on each other. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So I selfishly want you to go first. And then I will go after you with my big topic.
Dude, pressure's on.
I know.
2024, man. So I started 2024 in an RV driving around. I think we had me like real close to the beginning of 2024. Met out in Colorado, but I was in an RV. I was driving around. I was looking at trying to get the loan for the Gorge View and silo houses that we're doing. What else? I was flying back and forth all the time to Kentucky. I was trying to move, all sorts of stuff. I think, honestly, that's the biggest thing in my book is kind of across all the projects that we've got, everything that we're working on, every place that we've been. I think the difference between remote management, remote owners, and being there shaking hands is the biggest, like learning lesson. You can definitely do it remote for other remote operators. Like it's fine, but you are disconnected to a certain degree, right? No matter what, you're disconnected to a certain degree. And I know every time I flew to Kentucky, I was amazed at like what had changed and people that knew each other, who was there and whatnot, that I was just not a part of. Same thing happens right now when I go down to Blue Ridge. Like I hadn't been in Blue Ridge in a little bit over a year, and I got there and it's like, never seen cars like this. This coffee shop reminds me of something out of like Portland. Like it was just mind boggling. And I missed that whole development, build, change and all that. Since I've been here, I moved mid-July. I moved to Louisville and I'm going out there about every week at this point. And just standing still and listening to stories and shaking hands and all that has introduced us to, 20 different people that have
Yep.
been like monumental in the growth in that area. So I think that was the biggest, like if I could pin it down to one thing, that would be mine.
Yeah. So my question for you is not who do you know in the gorge and in that Kentucky area, but who don't you know, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm convinced you know that like when you come to town, everyone knows Mike's in town because, but it's true. Like you've shook a lot of hands with a lot of different people out there. You know, inside and out, top to bottom, left and right, what's going on in the gorge, and I think we're starting to see the benefits of that for upcoming deals, upcoming projects, just the work we've done in 2024 and the success we've had. I think it's huge. And I think not that we underestimated how beneficial it would be, but when you start seeing the benefits on the back end of the inputs that you were putting
Yeah.
in, it's absolutely tremendous and it's a game changer.
Yeah. Well, that and the trust. There are so
Yes.
many remote people when you say, hey, let's go get lunch. Hey, let's meet up at coffee next tomorrow morning, right? Something like that. Like there's a different level of like, oh, I can actually get in touch with you. I can reach you. You're not just going to disappear and not, well, I've got some phone number kind of thing. And I think with the relationships that we've made and the relationships that we had, just really kind of double downing on that trust factor has it's moved things faster because if there's a document that's missing or a payment that's late or anything like that, like people don't stop. They're like, all right, whatever, it's Mike. Like we know that we'll get paid eventually. And then that spreads, which has been fantastic and a lot of pressure at the same time. You gotta be real clear to be like, I didn't say this, so don't do this.
Right. And I
So
think being on site, what's nice as well, obviously shaking hands, getting to know people, developing that trust and relationship with people is huge. But also when you're able to go to your properties, unfortunately, even the best boots on the ground crew doesn't see your property through the lens that you see your space and your property, right? You're going to get to your place and notice things that maybe people have been overlooking just because it is your property. It is your place. And it gives you a chance to see like, okay, what state is my property actually in? I know I said when we went out and stopped by Cooper Pine, stopped by the A-frame, I'm all the way here in Iowa, and granted, you're there for me to look at it, so that definitely helps. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, the place is falling apart. Like, this is wrong. This is wrong. This needs fixed. That like all this stuff. And I remember walking in, and you were sitting on the bench that's right by the door. I think I walked to the back and walked to the front. I'm like, huh, it's actually in really good shape. Like,
yeah,
it's actually in really good shape. But it's so valuable to get there in person, see it, feel it, and just
yep,
walk your property. I know a lot
yep.
of people say they don't get out to their properties for 3, 4, 5 years. Some people have never even been set foot in their property. And, I think that's fine, but I think you'll benefit a lot more at getting out there at least, I would say, once a year. Just
Yes.
be there and see what's going on. But it also sparks new ideas. How can I make this unique? What can I do
Yes.
differently? What
Yes.
needs to be refreshed? Just see it and feel it. It's a lot different.
Well, in optimizing for another build, like say you do the exact same build in another place, it's like I know 10 things that I would upfront say these need to be different, right?
Exactly.
Because you're there, you're experiencing the headaches, like versus, the disconnect of the remote. Again, people that do it, that's great. I think we still have properties that we manage remote. But
Right.
for the goals that we have here, it's important to shake some of these hands, which has been a blast. So
Right. So kudos to you for being able to shake hands. It would be very interesting if I just went Monday. Hey, could be an idea. Monday through Thursday, Jordan's in Kentucky, flies out, flies home.
There you go. There you go.
I think I would have to bring Allie along with eventually, which would be good. But then it's like, all right, who's the designated babysitter? Because I will tell you this right now. Could bring the kids, definitely could. Productivity and work would decrease by anywhere from 40 to 60%. It's just
Court's talking about opening that tutoring business, man. There's something there. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she tutoring 4-month-old like
So
kids?
maybe.
Because we could set Hudson there.
Dude, we've got a couple of those books, those black and white, high contrast. Like, see if you can see this book.
Yep. There we go.
So
there we go.
That's cool. What about yours though? What's your biggest learning lesson in 2024?
Yeah, I spent some time thinking about this, and I kind of went back and forth on two things. But where I landed, with the biggest thing that I learned, and everyone's gonna be like, okay, here Jordan goes again talking about it. But the biggest thing for me was how valuable social media can be for your property and the impact it can have on your bottom line, on the revenue that you're producing with your property. I don't think we realized how beneficial and valuable that actually is until we started seeing, 3-4 months after the consistent posting and reels and videos starting to take off, the benefits from that. And I think we had the best October we've had to date. Blew it out of the water. But having our direct bookings going from 5% to what was it, like 50 or 55%? It was
56.
a ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. 56%. Like, it was a ridiculous number. And we looked at our calendar. I remember looking at it and looking at the cabins, and it was like Airbnb was like one of the minority like booking platforms that we had across the board, and everything was just like direct. And it's very obvious that it was from social media, because that's the one big thing that we are doing differently. And it obviously helps increasing, follower count's great, but if you increase your followers up to 100,000 and get no direct bookings from it, then
What's
it
the
really a
point?
success? Exactly.
Yes.
And we started to see that happening, and I was very surprised that people were actually commenting or DMing us and be like, how do I book? Again, I've always said this, Grant, the link is in the bio. It's right. I mean, it's right there.
Couldn't make it
in front of
easier.
you. Exactly. But
Yeah.
I was very willing to respond and help people, guide them to that link, obviously, to book. And it paid dividends. I'm so excited to see what we can do with that for 2025, grow that even more, build our brand, add properties to it. I think that's going to be huge. We're going to see a nice little bump across the board by doing that. But it really is high quality content done the right way can be a game changer for your property, for your portfolio, for everything across the board. I think a lot of people are like, oh, they think about it as like, I don't have time. I don't want to invest time into that. But what if investing time into that actually increase your investment, right? It increased the value of the property itself and generated more revenue. And I think it's the instant gratification a lot of people are wanting. They do 3 videos and they're like, I got 10 comments each video. Your system doesn't work. And it's like, yeah, do that for 4 months and then come back to me, right? It takes one video to take off, and then from there you'll start to incrementally see that. But as you continue adding more followers and you start to see that spike in direct bookings, I promise you, it's almost like a drug. You're just addicted to it. It's like, I gotta post, I gotta be in front, I gotta provide that content, because on the back end there's revenue coming down the pipeline from it. And I'm excited to continue blowing that out of the water in 2025 and seeing what that can do for our current properties as well as our new properties, which I know for our followers, they would love to see some of the new properties on there that we have coming online here fairly soon.
Cool stuff going on.
Yeah. So it's going to be big. So, hey guys, real quick, the only way we can continue to grow this show to bring on bigger and better guests is if you guys rate, review, and share the show. So, if you could take 2 seconds and leave us a quick 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, it would mean the world to us. But even better than that, we'll be able to reach more real estate investors and help them build out their dreams through unique short-term rentals. Now back to the show. Transitioning now. So 2024, like I said, here and gone, learned a lot. These are just 2 things we've learned. We went through the ringer in 2024, but learned a lot, grew a lot, had a lot of change. I will say that. But 2025, I think we're doubling down and going at it bigger than ever from a unique perspective. We're going to build more unique properties. We're going to acquire more unique properties. The amenities that are offered are going to be even more unique, as well as the guests that come on this podcast. I love the guests that we've had on our podcast, but I want to go bigger, and I want to go find the most successful STR hosts in the entire nation that are doing these unique properties. There's properties in Ohio like Brandywine Grove, Paradise Lake, Dunlap Hollow, Box Hop, Pacific Bend out in Washington. Like, hear their stories. Like, how did they do it? Like, from start to finish, what was that process? What did they learn? How much did it cost? What are they doing in revenue? Like, what advice do they have for people?
Or what struggles?
Exactly. Like that, you see the end product and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I just got to build this property and I'll make 200,000 a year off this property. But like, you don't understand the grind and the dirt and everything that goes on behind the scenes. And I'm really excited to start bringing some of those guests on here to deep dive that with them. And also be able to start talking about some of our new unique properties we got coming
Yeah.
online
I'm
this year.
I'm so stoked, dude. We really proved the model. We've got some boring houses, we've got some unique houses, we've got some small houses, we've got some big houses, we've got great guests, we've got terrible guests. Like we've been through enough, you
Right.
know, and really like mid to end 2024, crunching the numbers and looking at it, it's like it would take 10 boring houses and risking those with the mortgage and the bills and everything else to make one of these unique builds that we're doing, right? And everybody hears that and they're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be expensive and huge and yada, yada, yada. And it's not. Like what we're looking at right now with these little $300,000, $350,000 builds that are planning on doing over 100K a year. Like it just makes so much more sense. It just is the mindset shift of we have to make this thing stand out. We have to make this thing one of one. We have to make this thing attractive from a social media perspective and whatnot. And after, I don't know, what was it, a month ago, like we were kind of looking at like kind of doing a lot of stuff. We're doing some automations, we're doing some social media, we're doing some consulting, we're doing this, we're doing that. And it's like, let's just whittle this down to like one thing, right? If you want to do automations, great, go do that with someone else. You want to do like training on this, that, and the other, go do that somewhere else. But if you want to know like how to make the best unique short-term rental in the world, like that's what we're going to focus on. And I was sending out that email the other day to our list to tell them like, hey, this newsletter is going to shift just a little bit. And one of the things I realized is like, yeah, we can interview all of the builders. I think that's a fantastic idea. But one of the things that I want to do is get some of those guests on, right? Hey, we really like to have you
That
on.
would be cool.
What was it about this place that made you pay $700 for a Thursday night, right? One night, you and your boyfriend, 2-bedroom place. Like, what was it that made you book that? And I want to hear their journey. How many of these do you know exist? How long did you know it exists before you book it, right? Like, what are those things so that we can reverse engineer that mindset of that's the thing that I need, right? How did you come
Yep.
across it? Let's build that into every single property that we have any say in the future, right? And I think we're off to a great start. We've already got the contract started on number one for 2025, breaking ground next month or so.
Yep.
And it's going to be exciting. I'm so stoked.
And we can't and I hopefully we're okay to share this, but I know we have 7 or 8 coming online here in the first half of 2025 that you've been working on, some very unique structures that I think are going to be just.
We just sent that email out last week. That's public. So
okay, there you go.
Hideaways.co/the silos if anybody wants to see it, whole build process.
It's so cool to see that actually coming to life and actually happening. Because I remember we had that conversation. You called me and you're like, dude, that we got some silos for sale. Would you want to buy them? And I remember I was just like, what are we even going to do with silos? And you're just like, I don't know. We'll figure it out later. And we just need to buy them. And so we bought them, and seeing those actually coming to completion and being, close to coming online, those are going to be one of one, absolutely unique. They're not all the same. They're done differently. Some have one, some have two, some are just a silo, some are on a giant platform. It's going to be incredible. And that's just the beginning of what we're doing.
You talk about them coming to life, man. I was out there the other day, and like we've had the platforms, we got the silos up, we got the walls up, windows are in, plumbing is in, electric is in, and you talk about like looking at a schematic that you put together, kind of trying to ideate, this whole process, and then you go in there and you actually see like all the recess lights that you put in there, like actually hanging down. And then you see all the outlets that you design, like exactly where they are. That is such a cool feeling. It is such a cool feeling.
Oh, it's crazy that you're saying that, because I remember the last time we were out there, I was freezing. We were walking around those units, walking in. I think they were in like framing stage. I think maybe they were putting the roof on. And it was just frigid. But it's cool to just take that image that you had in SketchUp and be like, build this, and you're there and you're like, I almost just imagine Mike holding up the SketchUp thing and just going like pulling it down. And it's like, it's literally, that is it. There it is, and it's so cool to see that come to life. And I'm excited for some of these future builds to continue, documenting some of those build processes to show our listeners and our followers, like, start to finish, like, this is what happens. This is behind the scenes. And unfortunately, a lot of times, like, it's not always pretty, right? It's not just a simple process of like from A to Z, right? Yeah, and it's not just a straight line. It's
No,
like up,
I don't know if it
down.
ever is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's
Yeah.
like showing that, because it's like up, down, go backwards 10 steps, go forward 20 steps,
Yep.
pause, no one move, go back
Yep.
10 steps, go up. Like, it's just a crazy ride. But if you can push through that, be patient, level-headed, and surround yourself with a solid team to get
Yep.
through that, I think at the end you'll have a product, you'll look at it, you'll be proud of it, and you'll be even more proud when those reservations start coming in and you
Yep.
start seeing your your revenue numbers for the year. It's surreal.
And
I think
that's something that we've been talking a lot about with other investors. And I think it is right. Like a little bit of a masochistic mindset where it's like, you and I really enjoy that.
Yep.
What's the challenge? How do we overcome that? What's, what else is coming after that? Whatever. And for me, it's something I really like. It is a thrill figuring those things out and how to overcome them. There are a lot of people out there and a lot of investors that we've talked to that kind of want the whole plan from start to finish. Right. And for me, it's like a little bit comical where I'm like, yeah, sure. Like it's like financial forecasting in a business. The only thing absolutely is that this is wrong. That's it. Right. Like I'll give it to you. This is the ideal, right? But like day one, something's going to blow up right there. And it's just a matter of like getting through. So it's more trust in people and processes than it is like the plan that you put together.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's cool. And, we're building these new properties. We're going from start to finish with these, but not to forget the other properties and cabins that we have. Is I'm excited for the challenge to take those and be like, okay, now what can we do to these to make them unique? And we're already starting to do that. The Naturalist, we're adding a mural on Monday. I think that one's going to be really cool. And we're going to do that time lapse of the installation, show before and after. I think that mural is going to really, draw some attention, catch some eyes. And then we're working to add a hot tub to the Naturalist. I'll just say that. I won't say exactly how we're doing it, but it may be even more unique than what we did at the Stoic.
Not maybe. It will be.
It will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
don't want to do it if it's not more. We gotta get more and more and more push.
And the best part is we have a solid crew doing it because let's be honest, Mike, I know we are confident in our abilities, but we got a killer crew that can do this unique stuff and actually put it, bring that to life. So just promise me we'll take a step back. We'll let them do their thing. We'll guide them through it. But once that thing's up there, man, like it's going to be cool.
I'm stoked.
Yeah,
I'm so stoked.
I think it's, if we learned anything from the Stoic and add that hot tub up there, the revenue bump and the percentage bump we'll see from that, plus the mural, is going to be huge. And then it's like, it's very much this process is like, our top performing property is, I think, on track for 2025 will now be number 2 because of the Stoic and the hot tub. Mm-hmm. And the Naturalist is below that. But now add all these things to the Naturalist, our top performer then all of a sudden becomes down here.
And I hope.
Exactly. And then it's like, why would we not go even bigger then?
But what a great story too. You have complete control over the revenue of your property. These are 420 square foot, tiny little lots. Like they're not the, anybody who has a house in space can change things around to put more money in their pocket. Right. It's essentially like what we're saying. Cause there wasn't a natural path to this. There wasn't a, natural feature that we were going to highlight or anything like that. And like, we found this way to really make it pop. And it's not an illusion. Like the reviews are exactly what we hoped they would be. People are pumped to be out there staying at this place. So,
and I think the one thing we were most nervous about, I will say, and I think everyone would, say this is it going to actually pay for itself, right? Is that hot tub going to pay for itself? Because that's an investment up front. And I think there's a lot of people out there that like, they have this mindset of like, but what if it doesn't, right? What if it doesn't change the revenue? What if it doesn't pay for itself and now I'm in the hole? And I think what we're seeing is, if thought through, done strategically, and done well in a way that draws attention to the property, it will pay for itself quickly. I think we're on track to pay for that hot tub and deck in
like 12 months. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, 12 months.
Yeah.
It's going to pay for itself. Then after that, we've then taken our property and increased it by, I don't know, what was it, like 20% or something like that?
Yeah, around that.
Give or take. But
Yeah,
so now our revenue number is increased, and we have eliminated the debt that we had to build this thing, and now our
yep.
revenue is even that much more. So
Which is a great
it's
story to give investors.
exactly, it really is, man.
So
It is, and I think it's a testament that uniqueness and providing that level of like once in a lifetime experience is what today's guests are wanting.
oh, we
I
keep
want
hearing it too. Everyone's talking about it. It's got to be unique. It's
yes,
got to stand out. It's got to have, people want to go, they want to relax and have vacation, but they want to do that to a level that we've never seen before. Before it was
right.
like stay in the house and go to the fishing trip or go to the beach or whatever, where you relax and have the experience. And now it's like, no, you go here and you don't leave. You go
Right.
here and it's the experience. So
Yeah, there. I won't say exactly what it is that we're planning, because right now it's just back in the napkin ideas. But we have some relationships out there for some very unique ideas, even more so than what we're talking about right now. That it's very much an idea of like, would this ever work? And we're digging into it more to see if it's feasible and see if it would work. I think that would just take the uniqueness to a whole nother level
mhm.
and be something that no one's doing in the Airbnb space right now. I
Yep.
call me crazy and say it's a bold claim, but I think if we can put pen to paper and come to agreement with some of these people that we're talking to this about, I
Yeah.
think I think it opens up a whole new world of how you could look at Airbnbs and these unique
Yeah.
Airbnbs.
Yep.
And again, it doesn't always have to be that the A-frame up on the hill, the hot tub on top of a boulder. That's what we're doing, and it works, right? There are other ways to make these properties unique, and that's what this new idea is kind of talking about. Is it's not just the structure and those components that makes it unique. There's other ways that we're providing that property that will make it unique.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that, because it is very much just a back of the napkin idea that we're flushing out and working on. But again, it's just that's our plan for 2025
Yeah.
is be more unique, go bigger, do more, and talk to and shake hands with some of the best and biggest hosts in the entire country. I'm so excited about it, and I'm excited to learn a lot because it's going to be tremendous.
It is, man. I'm so
So
pumped.
so
Big year.
Mike's over here like, man, maybe I'll jump into the driver's seat to be the host for the show. Hey, maybe we do that, man. Like,
Hey.
because I know talking to some of these guys will be such a fun conversation.
Yep.
Hearing their story, getting behind the scenes, even from our perspective, hearing the nitty gritty, but providing that to the listeners and doubling down on that uniqueness. It's gonna be tremendous.
Yeah.
So,
Cheers to 2025.
cheers to 2025. So cheers to me coming out there very soon. Some warm weather. We're going to enjoy it out there. Start get the ball rolling on this year, and it's going to be great. So perfect. All right, buddy. Well, that does it. Another amazing episode of the Hideaways Show Behind the Curtain edition. It's been a minute since we've done this. We're going to start adding these back into the rotation. So I'm excited for it. I'm Jordan Holmes. He's Mike Sebastian. Until next time, take care, everyone.